Mm-hmm. Am I audible?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the task that I gave you yesterday, were you able to go through that task?
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
So the tax is at the verification and validation, right? And yeah,
And black box and white box
yeah,
testing. So did you guys go through those concepts?
yeah. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit as far as I know. The black box is that testing.
Mm-hmm.
The
Sure.
black box testing is a method of the software testing without the coding or source code. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's all I know. And then the white box is the method of testing. The software testing same as a black box, but that is with the
that that requires codes.
course and coding. Yeah,
Okay,
that's all I know.
sounds good. And what about verification and validation?
Yeah, go by depend.
Verification is focus on procedure to achieve the result. Validation is focus is on result itself.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
The verification is focus on procedure to achieve the result, and
Hmm.
the validation is focus on result itself.
And validation is the focus on the result itself.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, sounds about right. So let's start with the verification. It basically refers to what goal do we need to achieve with that software that we are developing. Okay. And verification, we generally do it from the perspective of tester. And what exactly do we mean by that? Once you do start a verification process, you must be sure that yes, the product developed has been developed correctly. And what do we mean by that? That once the development start, before that you do get the requirements, what exactly you need to develop, correct?
Yeah,
So
Yes.
the tester needs to make sure that the requirement that was given at the start of the project, that requirement is followed when the entire development is done. And why do we say that? Because generally during software development, what happens is there is a very large number of requirements, you can say. You can say there would be around 1,000 or even 10,000 requirements for a particular software. Now, there would be many developers working on individual modules. Now, generally what happens is developers, they don't know the entire picture or they don't know the entire software because generally they are assigned 2 to 3 modules and normal software might consist of, you can say, 1,000 modules. So the entire integration process generally the developers don't know. They are only well versed in the modules that they develop. So at the end of the day, it falls on the tester to make sure that the each individual modules that the developers have developed, and when they integrate those modules, the intended behavior of that entire software should be like it was discussed during the requirement phase. by the customer or the product manager. Okay? Are we clear about the verification, or do you guys have any doubt?
No, it's clear.
No.
Now,
Clear.
coming to the validation process. Now, validation process generally means that yes, everything is okay from the organizational perspective. Okay. Now we have achieved a certain standard of the development. I mean, there are less than 10% of bugs, and whatever criterias were given during the requirement discussion phase, all those criterias have already been met. Now, what we need to do is make sure that now we need the help of the customers or the product owner who had given the requirement earlier. Now, the customer or the product owner might have certain vision when they gave those requirements, correct? That I want the software for this purpose. They might had certain vision. Now, they need to make sure that the requirements that they gave based upon the vision they had, that vision has been fulfilled by the team, and they have developed a software that would be able to complete their requirements or their vision that they shared with the organization during the initial requirement gathering phase. So in validation, the testing would be done generally by the product owner or the customer, keeping in mind their own viewpoint about the softwares. Are we clear on validation part?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now we'll be moving towards the next topic. That would be black box testing. Now, as you guys correctly pointed out that in black box testing, we do not see the code itself. Okay. Just before proceeding further, can you guys give me an example of black box testing? Raj, you can start. Give an example of black box testing if you can.
Black box testing, that means without the source code, that means just the fronting, I think so, fronting testing. Uh,
Not
exactly.
exactly. Okay, give
Mhm.
an example of white box testing then.
White box testing, actually, I don't have an idea right now.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Okay. Now, Deepen, sorry, I just forgot about you. So, Deepen, would you be kind enough to give me an example of black box testing?
uh,
Mhm. Whatever comes to your mind, just
it is a testing method that in which internal structure design implementation
mm-hmm.
of the item begin testings
Mm-hmm.
is not known the tester. In the white box testing is software testing method which
Mm-hmm.
the internal structure design implementation item being tested is known to the tester.
Okay.
I think it would include the testing of interfaces on applications or websites to check their functionalities and all in the black box testing, because the tester don't need to know the codes to know the functionalities on the interface of the software or the application.
What was my original question, Raj? Were you listening?
Yeah, you say the example, but I didn't get any example. Might be
No,
application,
no, sorry, not Raj. My bad. Rajan.
depend,
Rajan, not Raj.
Rajan.
depend.
So you asked example of black box testing.
Yes.
So I thought black box testing would include to check onto the functionalities, onto the front end part, which would be the look and feel and the functionalities of software. So I think like that.
Okay, let me give you guys an example. Nah, not example. Let me first give you guys a suggestion that would be very beneficial during the interview process. Now, Raj was very straightforward with me that yes, he does not know the examples. That was very good. Okay, but what Deepen and Rajan did, they were Deepen was the smartest, okay, among Raj and Deepen. So what he did, he just read out the definition that he could see on my screen. Correct, Deepen?
Yes.
And what Raj did was he just gave me an explanation of that definition. He was trying to give an explanation. So we are not in class, I mean, we are not in school anymore, that you just want to read out the definition that is present to you. If I ask a question and you are reply instead of giving me an answer, you are just repeating back the question to me. That should not be the case how you answer. Okay. During the interview process, we are not here to teach you theory. We are here to prepare you for the interview. So try to be a bit straightforward with the interviewer. So instead of just reading out the definition to me, but I had clearly asked for an example. Correct, Deepen?
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm. I'm not shaming you. I'm just trying to help you out here. Okay. So
No, I'm not feeling same like I would like to apologize for reading all those things that on my screen.
no, you don't need to apologize, Deepen. There is nothing bad with that. I'm just trying to correct you here so that after few months you'll be going for the interviews. Correct? Our
Yes.
the basic requirement of these classes is that I need to prepare you guys for interview. That whenever you go for the interview, you don't face any problem. So whenever I do feel that you need to change your approach or something, I'll be pointing you then and there only. So don't feel that no, he's calling me out in front of everyone and he's trying to demean me. That's not my purpose.
No,
Mm.
no. I'm not
No, we are
feeling
not
like that.
thinking like that.
No. We are
Our
here to discuss and
purpose
learn.
is to learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep that in mind. And whenever someone asks you any questions, try to answer that question honestly. And if you don't know, there is no shame in admitting that, yes, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. Instead of just giving me any random thoughts or any random definitions, that's not correct way of answering anything. So you need to be a bit honest and a bit smart as well. Yes, like if it was an interview and I straight away asked for black box testing example, you just have to think a bit harder what exactly is the definition and try to come up with an example. If not, you can say, sir, I'm not able to come up with an example right now. It would be better than just giving him the definition. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, as mentioned, as read by Deepen correctly, it is the software testing method in which internal structure slash design slash implementation of the item being tested is not known to the tester. Only the external design and structures are tested. So what exactly we mean by that? Whenever anyone provides you a software to test, in most of the cases, they won't be giving you the software. I mean the code of that software. Okay. So when you are not able to access that code of the software and you just have to test with the UI itself, that is known as black box testing. An example of black box testing would be if I'm testing the UI of any application, but the source code has not been given to me. Okay, that's the condition. The source code is not given to me. I'm not able to access the source code anyhow. Now, white box testing. When the same application is given to me for testing and I know about the source code. And by source code, I mean the code that has been written by the developers to develop that particular application or website. Once I do have the source code also with me, or even if I don't have that source code, I can do one thing. I can just click here. There is an okay, inspect button is disabled. Let me give you guys a different website. So now this is a different website. Now we just need to right click here and go on the inspect menu. Now you guys do see these codes, correct?
Yes, those are the source codes.
Yes. This is the source code, not the entire source code. It's the UI source code, but we do have the source code. So we can we can try to figure out if there is any kind of weaknesses in the source code, and we can perform the testing while analyzing these codes. That is called as
White
white
box testing.
box. And if that inspect menu was disabled for us and we were not able to access that, as you might have seen in this slide, there is no inspect menu here. So we are not able to see the source code, correct?
Yes.
So this is a black box testing for us. Are we clear about black box and white box testing along with the examples?
Yes.
So, okay, good. Now we'll be moving towards the next topic. Now, before proceeding further, I would like to ask few things. First of all, yesterday I gave you guys the assignments to go through the definitions of black box and white box and verification and validation. So tell me honestly, did you guys go through these definitions or not?
I went through the definition, but not exactly this one. I tried to search a little more
Mm-hmm.
on Google,
Mm-hmm.
and I found some definition here and the differential as well.
Okay, that's even better. And what about you, Raj? Were you able to
Yeah, I just went through the same thing, like, everything, researching,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, Google, and what exactly, and then finally I just found in the short definition.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I couldn't tell you example. I just want to go through step by step, one by one, not a whole, a lot, in the wide range.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I know, and then I explain about that short definition. Yeah, I went through. Yeah,
Okay.
and I
First of
made a note too.
okay. First of all, congratulations. Both of you did try to put that effort.
Thank you.
Kudos to both of you that you tried to Google these definitions. So that is how you should try to learn. Rather than just relying on the text that we provide, try to Google.
Yeah,
But just a simple suggestion at this point of time also. If you try to Google now something, so try to give it a bit more. I mean, try to spend some more time. Try to spend at least 5 to 7 minutes on a particular definition in between your work or whenever you do have that time. Na? even before the class, just 10 minutes before. You can just Google and try to read the definitions and try to find out some examples so that you do have that better understanding here. Because what I was able to conclude from the definitions that you guys were giving, that you didn't go through that much detail for these definitions or or these terminologies. You don't give me that right answer or the exact answer that I was looking for. By exact answer, I mean the no that if any person Googles any definition, he should have at least some knowledge about that. But what I perceived from the definitions or the explanation that you guys were giving, that you were just reading out the text. Okay, now you need to understand everything. Just keep in mind that it is very important that you understand everything. You don't have to just mug up that I'll provide you the definition of verification and validation, and you just went ahead and learned the definition word by word. That's not going to help you. You need to understand these concepts. And as we gradually proceed in our classes, the topics gonna be the topics that we will be discussing. It's gonna be a bit complicated. I mean, it's gonna be gradually the toughness of these topics would be increasing. Okay, so I need a bit of more effort from you guys,
Yes.
because as mentioned again, this is not just to get some grades or pass an exam. The main purpose of this class, the reason why we are putting effort of one and a half hours each day for 5 days a week, is because you guys want to have a job. You want to change your domain and work in IT, correct?
Yes.
So just
Yes.
whenever you do study, just keep that in mind that you have to change your domain, and the interviewer is not going to let you get off the hook that easy.
Yes.
Let's move towards our next set of topics, system testing types. Now we'll be discussing few testing types in details. Okay. So any idea about system testing?
No.
No, from my side too.
Oh, why so? Come on, guys. I think I had explained system testing yesterday. Am I correct?
Yes.
So try to recall that, anything that comes to your mind. Even if you want, you can just read the definition and try to explain me that. There's no problem with that. Anything. Just please go ahead and start. Deepen, we'll start with you. Make it quick.
Yeah. System testing is a level of software testing that evaluates the complete integrated system to evaluate
Mm-hmm.
its compliance with the specified requirements. It's performed after integration testing and before acceptance testing. It means like system testing when we gather information and sorry, I might be mistaken.
No problem. There is nothing. You can make as many mistakes as you want during the class. You are you are free to do that because we can correct those mistakes. So
System testing is a software testing where we go through the SDLC software testing life cycles
mm-hmm.
by evaluating the things and specified requirement and accepting testing as well.
Okay. Deepen, one suggestion from my end, don't be nervous. I think you
Okay.
are taking a bit bit of toll here while explaining. Raj, any thoughts on system testing?
Yeah, as you explained yesterday, I remember that you told me the system testing is the software testing where the complete integrated system uh, tested to verify the all the expected meeting the requirements.
Oh my God, absolutely correct. Kudos to you, man.
That's all.
Wow. Now, yes, as you mentioned correctly, system testing is the testing of entire software. Now, as it is mentioned here, system testing, when exactly does it happens? It happens after the integration testing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have developed each individual modules like any particular functionality, home page, settings, all these pages were developed separately. Okay, now once they are developed separately, now we go for that integration testing. Like we once we log in, we are able to navigate to home page. That's the integration testing part, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And from the home page, we can navigate to either settings page or notification page and like that, so on. That is the integration testing part. Now, once we need to test the entire system just to make sure that it is properly functioning. So we would be logging in on our social media platform. Then we go to our home page, and from home page we go to settings. From settings, we try to navigate to notifications. From notification, we try to navigate to our feeds. From feeds to some place else. We'll be navigating through our entire system just to make sure that the entire system is properly functioning. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. And the last point that is says is it is done before the acceptance testing. So we had just now discussed the acceptance testing. Who does the acceptance testing?
The client or the product manager.
Is it acceptance or something else?
Might be something else.
No, no.
Uh,
Come on, man. Just right. Have some faith in yourself. Huh? Acceptance testing is done by the client or the customer. You mentioned it correctly. What we know about the accept acceptance testing is basically that whenever a software is developed, it has to be developed for someone. Okay, we
Yeah.
generally don't develop software for ourselves. Even if we do develop, in that case also, after the entire development is done, we hand over that software to the client and he's gonna test it just before the deployment or in the staging areas, just to make sure that yes, the software is in an acceptable condition. What we mean by that, it has no major flaws or no major issues, and whatever the vision was or whatever the set of requirement that needs to be fulfilled before it can be deployed has been met. So that is what is acceptance testing. Okay.
Okay.
Now, types of system testing. These are the various type of system testing. First, this is the functional testing. Any ideas you guys might have about functional testing?
uh, it checks the functionality of software if it is working as intended initially or not. as the name suggests.
Yes, correct. What about performance testing?
Uh, Again, as the name suggests, it checks onto the different workloads, whether it is able to handle different load of users or performances when in use by users or the end users.
Okay, and what about usability testing?
Uh, how easy it is to navigate or use the software or the application.
Okay,
Many emphasis on user
security,
experience and satisfaction.
security testing.
Again, to check the how safe is this application and the software to use for the end users.
Compatibility testing.
Might be with the system requirements, like the software that has been developed is compatible with different operating system or different platforms or not.
Installation testing.
Uh, Not sure.
Depend.
Uh, it verifies the system it is installed or not installed and uninstalled correctly.
Okay. Recovery testing. Depend.
Recovery testing is we do the testing for the failures on the errors where we can fix the bugs.
Okay. And regression testing.
Not sure.
To ensure the changes,
What kind of changes?
like when we when we made any changes in the software and to check it is in flow or like it is working properly, just to ensure all those changes were done correctly.
Okay. So, would you be able to give me an example of regression testing? Any example?
Like we can say Facebook or WhatsApp, they every time they add a new feature on the software, it has to be tested properly before it is displayed to the user interface.
Okay, let me first explain about regression testing. What exactly it is. Regression testing generally means is that once the software is developed, correct? Let
Yes,
us suppose our social media platform has been developed and handed over to the client. Now, there are new features that the client might want after few months or few weeks, correct? So, and there are many kind of security updates as well, or many kind of fixes that we need to give for our social media platform or any software that we are developing. That generally softwares are under maintenance phase regularly, correct?
Correct.
yes,
So during that maintenance phase itself, their developers, what they do is first they might be working on a new requirement or any new kind of functionality, and second they might be changing the existing functionality, correct?
yes,
So in both the cases there is a slight possibility that once the developer changes the code or introduces a new code in the code base, there is a slight possibility that the existing functionality that we had already tested. might break. Okay. Now, just to make sure that the existing functionality is not breaking, we need to do the regression testing.
Okay.
So that is what regression testing is. And if I give you an example, it would be like, suppose a social media platform, there was login button. I mean login functionality. The first iteration, we gave the login with the help of email ID and password. Okay, there was only one option. Now, in the second iteration, we gave customers the ability to log in with the help of their Google email ID directly. You must have seen that option, login with Google.
Right. Yes.
So in the second iteration, we gave that functionality to the customer. Now, once we are testing that login with the Google functionality, we need to make sure that login with email ID and password is also working correctly. Okay. And
Okay.
to do that, that will fall under regression testing. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Because email ID and password verification has already been done at earlier stages. But we are just making sure that the current functionality is not breaking due to introduction of new functionality. So this is the example of regression testing.
Okay.
Now, one thing that you can do is whenever you try to answer something, you just don't have to come up with the exact example. You just need to have that concept clear in your head and you can come up with an example on the spot. Okay.
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 In the similar fashion, can you guys help me with an example of recovery testing? Let's start with Deepen. Deepen, are you there?
Yes. Recovery testing is a process where we do the
Example,
test.
we have the definition in front of us.
No, no, it's not. I'm I'm not reading the definition there, but the examples are like,
Mhm.
let's say we have created a software where we have all the requirement met for the client,
Mhm.
and meanwhile we found bugs that is causing the software to run,
Mhm.
or there might be a chances that missing codes where uh, we had a requirement to put all those codes as well,
Mhm.
and we
Mhm.
we record all those requirements and do the testing in the recovery process.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay, for now, let me give you the example. Thanks for your efforts. Let me give you an example. Recovery testing, as you correctly pointed out, it is recovery from the failure itself. Now, if we want to give an example of recovery testing, what exactly is the definition? First, we need to analyze that definition. Check the system's ability to recover from failures or error. Okay, and if we want to come up with an example for this, what happens is whenever a system fails, the ability that the system has to recover from it. This is what the definition says. So now, when can a system fail? You need to first come up with that scenario in your head. So try to come up with a scenario where a system fails. And by system, I mean a software. A
So
software.
while using a computer, most of the times, or sometimes in Windows computer, uh, it hangs up or it stuck onto some pages or some functionality. So I believe that is a failure or an error, but we will restart the computer or a lab or machine. So that bug or the error goes away. So that
Mm.
might be the recovery technique.
Yes, you can say in a way, but let's come up with a very simple definition. I mean, very
Okay.
simple example. Like you might have encountered that sometimes when you try to access browser, specifically in your laptops, there might be a case that the browser has been stuck. You were not
Okay.
able to open new tabs or perform any activities, and you are getting a waiting symbol on your mouse pointer. Has it happened to you guys?
Yes, many times.
What about Deepan and Raj?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, in that scenario, generally what we do, either we wait or we try to close our browsers, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
So, sometimes when if we try to wait for few minutes or few seconds, the browser just return back to its normal functionality, correct?
yes,
And sometimes we just need to close that browser and reopen, and it works perfectly fine. And it even gives the option to reopen all the tabs that were
yes.
opened
Right.
earlier, with a message that there was some problem with Chrome earlier shutting down. So do you want to reopen those tabs? So that is what an example of recovery testing is. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. Now installation testing. Raj, would you be kind enough to give an example?
I have a question
Ah,
before.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Go.
in the recovery testing, like we can also give an example, like when let's say I'm entering one URL,
Mhm.
any kind of website, and it required user ID and password. Like if I enter 3 times, 4 times wrong password, it will uh, retrieve back you to go for the setting buttons,
Mhm.
and you have an option for a password reset. Is that also called a recovery testing?
That, yes, you can say that as well is a type of recovery testing. The entire process that you try to enter the email ID and password multiple times, but the incorrect pass, but due to that incorrect either email ID or password, you are getting the option that the details are
Reset password. Yeah.
the details are not correct. Try to if you have forgot, try to reset the password. That is also correct example of recovery testing.
Okay. I was about to say that before, but all right. Thank you.
Now, installation testing. Example, quickly. Raj.
You wanna okay. So you want to say me the example of the installation testing?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Installation testing is that the software testing? I mean, like a software installation
Yes, yes.
or the uninstallation?
The
Is that
entire
about that?
the entire purpose of this course is software testing, no?
No, I
So
mean like I say the example of the installation testing is a application installation testing or uninstall testing that is comes in the this installation testing.
they both are a package deal itself. You can't do one without the other, no? We call it
Okay.
installation testing, but even in the definition, it's written. No? Just look here. Verifies the system can be installed and uninstalled correctly. So just give a quick example, Raj, regarding the installation testing, whatever comes to your mind. quickly? An example here, please.
Is it the banking system, banking software
You
system?
don't have to go to that complicated examples now. A very basic example, anything that you just install and uninstall. Like Chrome in your mobile browser
Chrome, yeah.
or any Firefox. If you are using Android, Chrome is the default browser. But
Yeah.
if you have iPhone, the Safari is the default browser. In that case, you can always install and uninstall Chrome or any mobile application, any be it any kind of game as
Mm.
well, or
or any kind of any kind of what is called like antivirus,
yes, absolutely. Any kind.
like McAfee or anything like if we install improperly, it doesn't work.
Correct,
When we install, it has to go through the run button and like it has to be installed correctly.
correct, correct.
Okay, so
Any
that
kind
is
of
the
software. It can be browsers for your mobile devices or your even for your desktops as well. Browser or any games that you install. Anything. Okay.
Yeah, got it now.
okay.
Now next compatibility testing. Compatibility simply refers that yes, the software is compatible with the hardware. When you are downloading any software, you might have seen that
Ooh,
when, no problem. Whenever you do download that software, you might have seen that there is a minimum requirement field. Correct, that this software is compatible for these devices only.
yes.
Have you seen those?
Yes, like I can give an example of for downloading Java
Mm-hmm.
to my laptop.
Yes,
Like it has to be, there should be a new version of Java is capable for this laptop or not. I
mm-hmm.
mean, it's runnable or not. Or
Yes,
like even we have to choose the correct version of Java to install in this my laptop.
correct.
So that the capability testing
Compatible.
example?
Yes, correct. Compatible.
Compatibility testing, yes.
Yes, that is the example. That you have that specification of your hardware with you. But if you are using Mac, which type of processor does it have? Is it an M1 processor or an Intel processor? Similarly for Windows also. You might have heard there are many kind of games that you can run on Windows laptop, but each game has their own specifications that you need a minimum of 16 GB RAM, or some games might need 8 GB RAM and a graphics card. So you need to fulfill those criterias in order for that software to work on your system. So that is what compatibility testing is.
Compatibility testings.
If we say that
Okay.
the minimum requirement to run a game is i5, i3 and 8 GB of RAM, then we must make sure that the minimum requirement is fulfilled. We need to test that. Okay.
Okay.
So that is what compatibility testing is. Examples of software system testing we have already discussed in details. So I don't think we need to go through these. So we'll be moving towards the next topic. That's GUI testing. Okay. GUI testing is the very basic testing and the most important testing that you can say a tester has to do. Graphical user interface. That's what the full form of GUI is. It basically refers that we would be testing the UI to make sure that the functionalities or the entire system is working correctly, and that we do this testing through the graphical interface. Like if we want to test these Google slides, whether they are working correctly or not. So we won't be just looking at the source code and doing the testing. It's also a type of testing, white box testing. But generally, in testing field, we do the GUI testing mostly. Okay.
Okay.
Key areas where we include GUI testing. First one is the functionality, second would be usability, third would be compatibility, fourth accessibility, and fifth aesthetics. So we'll be going into a bit of detail for each points. Functionality, what we mean by that? Functionality basically refers that when
The
we have
functional, yeah, the functional part of the software.
correct, but the functional part, whether whatever functions we are providing, is it working correctly or not? If we take an example of that login page, and there are two options. Either you can log in with the help of email ID and password, and second option would be to log in with Google email.
Google. Yes.
So both the options should work correctly. So that would be the functionality testing. Okay, functionality area. Second, usability. Now we need to make sure that the software that we are developing, it is usable. What we mean by that, that the design of that software should be very easy, and users can access that software without any kind of demo or without any kind of walkthroughs. Okay, we need to make sure of that, because suppose if Facebook was developed in such a manner that you need to go through a demo video, or you need to go through a tutorial or few classes to use Facebook, then Facebook might have not been such a popular website, correct?
Yes.
Whenever they introduce any new features, they don't just give you a demo video that you need to go through this demo video to use this feature. They develop it in certain fashion that yes, anyone can just simply start using that functionality without any kind of prior training or knowledge. So that's what we mean by usability testing. Compatibility testing. Compatibility testing basically means that whenever we develop a software, it is compatible for different versions or different platforms. Okay, because you don't know how your customer is going to access your software. Like if I develop a website for that bakery, now my customers might come to my bakery website from their desktop or from their mobile devices or even from their iPads. Correct?
Yes.
So I need to make the homepage of my, or I need to make my bakery website in such a fashion that it is compatible with the viewing screen of all the three devices,
Mhm.
so that my customers don't face any kind of problem. Because if I only develop for the web version, if someone tries to come through their mobile, they won't be able to browse that website that easily, and they'll face some certain problems, like they'll have to scroll left and right. You might have encountered few websites that do not have a dedicated mobile view. Then you might have seen that it does not look good on that phone, and it's a bit challenging to use that website in your mobile devices, correct?
Yes.
So that is what compatibility basically refers here. Now, coming to the accessibility part. Accessibility part generally refers that people with disabilities, they won't be able to just go through that UI part and do the, I mean, they can just not use simply by relying on the UI part. They need to have that text, correct? They need a voiceover for that website in order to use it, correct?
Yes. Like YouTube.
Yes.
If a blind cannot type anything, then but they have the microphone system there where they can talk and the things popped up there.
Yes. But once, if a blind person navigates to YouTube for the very first time, and he does not have any person with him that can help him to navigate YouTube, he won't even be able to find the search box, correct? On his own.
Yes. Yes.
So for that, we need to make sure that the YouTube is developed in such a way that when we enable the voiceovers or the voice orientation of in YouTube, it's gonna describe in detail that to a blind person that here is the home page of YouTube, here is the search box. If you want to search for any videos, you can click here or press this key. So you
Yeah.
need to make your website more accessible. So generally in European Union, there is a law that by default, you need to make your website in an accessible format. And what we mean by that, you need to give a voiceover in your website.
In voiceover in United States, they says like TTYL or something like that.
Yes,
Like
correct.
if we call someone and like they have disable accessible or accessibility, they ask for TTY or TTYCL, something like that.
Correct, correct. Now, coming to the last point, that's aesthetics, evaluating the
Aesthetics.
visual appeal and consistency of the interface. Aesthetics, as the word itself defines, generally by aesthetics, we mean the look and feel of the website. Okay.
Yeah.
It should be pleasing to our eyes. That whenever we do go to that website, we feel that, oh, what a piece of art it is, or it is very pleasing for us to look at. Why? Just to make sure that our customers stays on our website a bit longer. It's not something like, oh my God, this website, it's not soothing to my eyes. I don't want to be in this website.
Yeah.
He should not have that kind of feeling. So we need to make that website aesthetically pleasing. Okay.
Yes.
So we are done with the functionality testing, usability, compatibility, accessibility, aesthetics. Okay. I think these topics would be covered. Common now. Common GUI. Yes. Now a bit important topic that we'll be covering. Common GUI testing techniques. Okay. So these are the testing techniques that you would be using for GUIs. The first one being manual testing. I guess you guys might have idea what exactly is manual testing.
Where we do the testings manually.
Yes, correct. Manually, a person's gonna use that software and he's gonna check whether the functionalities are working correctly or not.
Yes.
All the efforts that the person makes would be manually. He'll do that or he'll do the testing in person. Second, automated testing. Automated testing basically means that to test any particular functionality, we'll be using some tools to verify
Yes.
the results. If I give you an example of automated testing, you can say load testing. And what we mean by load testing? Load testing is whenever you develop a software, there is certain amount of load that it can bear. Like if I develop a website and we have implemented few resources at the back end and we have purchased hosting and other stuffs. So there is a particular number of users that can come to a website and it won't crash. There is a certain number for every website. Correct? You might have seen that during the sale hours, many website crash. If there is
Yes.
a sale, that website crashes. And the reason for that is because the maximum load that the website can bear was overreached during that sale hour. Because too many requests were flowing into that website at a given point of time, then it can handle. Okay.
Yes.
So to
Yes.
do that testing, we generally perform load testing just to make sure how much is the load. I mean, what kind of load does a website can take as per the resources and the coding that we have done. So that would be an example of automated testing. Even the script that we would be writing in Selenium, automation testing, that is also an example of automated testing. Okay.
Yes.
Now, that record and playback. Recording users' action and replaying them to identify regression. As we had discussed earlier, regression, what it means, the functionality that has already been developed. Now we just go and test that same functionality in order to make sure that it is not breaking due to any newly introduced changes. Correct?
Yes.
So in that record and playback testing, this is what exactly happens. We just simply go ahead and record the earlier functionality. And now whenever there is an introduction of any kind of new functionality or new module or new requirement, we just play that recorded playback testing. And we make sure that the existing functionalities are not breaking. Are we clear on these 3 points?
Yes.
Any doubts?
Not from my side. I'm clear.
Okay.
All
Oh,
good.
Okay. Then we'll be proceeding further. Regression testing and retesting. So, based upon our discussion till now, I'll just give you 30 seconds, all of you. Read the definitions and try to explain me the difference between regression testing and retesting. Are we done?
Yes.
Okay. So, anyone can take a lead and help me with the difference between regression testing and retesting.
So, regression testing, we check into, we check whether the new change that has been made to the system does not affect the previous functionalities or the existing functionalities.
Rajan, your voice is breaking, I guess.
We check,
You do have a bad internet connection. Your voice is not clear.
uh,
So please check your internet connection first. Deepen,
Yeah. Regression testing is like where
mhm,
we can ensure that the changes doesn't affect the previously generated codes or the previously generated software, where we when we add a new features on it.
mhm.
And retesting is re-executing failed test cases where we can verify the bugs and like we can fix it through the retesting the entire system.
Okay. I'll explain in bit of details. You are correct, Deepen. Good. Now,
Okay.
regression testing, what it basically means is that an existing functionality that has been already tested and it has been released to the customer or it has been released to the production. When I say production, it means that customers are using that functionality. Okay.
Yes.
So if a functionality has already been released, now the tester won't be able to test that functionality every time. No? You
Uh-huh.
use there are new tasks as well. So now whenever there is a new release or new functionality is introduced, we need to make sure that the existing functionalities are not breaking. In order to do that, there would be a regression test cases list that we need to execute after every release. It can be automated or it can be manual, depending upon your company. Okay.
Yes.
So now the regression testing, what it does is verifies the existing functionality. Now, suppose that in regression testing, you find that a particular functionality is not working. If I give you an example, you can say that you find out that login with Google is not working. Okay, that is the problem. Now you found that issue. Now, once the issue is found, now, but the normal login with email and password is working. Now, what we do? Once the in regression testing, we find out a particular issue that Google login is not working. Now, we do run our regression test cases, the entire script, and we found two issues, you can say. First, the login one. Second would be, you can say, on clicking the settings icon at the bottom of home page, the application crashes. These are the two issues that we found after the introduction of new functionalities. Now, the developers gonna fix those two issues, correct?
Yes.
Now, once the issues have been fixed, then we just need to retest those issues. We won't be executing that entire regression script. We would just be retesting those issues. Okay.
Okay.
So
So it goes side by side,
not,
regression and retesting.
no, it does not go side by side.
We
Because
just
Okay.
we just retest the failed test cases.
yes,
Right.
When
they come one
when
after the other. It's not side by
whatever whatever failed test cases were generated when the regression testing is done, and then after we do the retesting on the failed test cases
So
yes.
on
what I
the
meant is whenever we have a regression testing, then right after that we'll have to do the retesting onto the given failed test cases on which we have done the regression testing.
Only if
Is
the
that correct?
only if those failed test cases have been fixed by the developer.
Okay.
And it's not
Okay.
only after regression testing. If you test anything for the very first time, suppose a module has been developed, okay, you write the test cases for that particular module. Whenever I say module, I mean that particular functionality, like homepage module. Okay, now
Mhm.
homepage module was developed. You wrote the test case of that entire homepage module. There were 50 test cases that you wrote down. Now, out of those 50 test cases, 10 were failing. So you created 10 individual issues for those 10 failed test cases. Now, once those 10 issues have been fixed, you will be retesting those 10 issues.
Okay. Got it.
Retesting happens whenever we are done with the testing and we need to retest particular functionality or particular issues in specific. So that's when retesting happens. It does not go side by side. Are we clear on regression and retesting?
Yes.
yes, yes.
Okay. In summary, regression testing is a broader aim to prevent new issues. Retesting is focused on aim to verify defect and fixes. What we discussed earlier. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll be moving forward. Smoke testing and sanity testing. Deepen, as you are the most experienced person here, what are your thoughts on smoke testing?
You keep saying that, but I'm not that much experience.
Come on, buddy. You are the most experienced person here. I'm counting
I
out.
believe Rajendra is also at the same line as the pen.
I'll have Rajan to go on this first, please.
Okay.
Uh,
No. Rajan, are you okay with going first?
I can read out the definition. I don't have a clue about
Okay.
smoke testing
Yeah,
and
I
sanity
just
testing.
as far as I know the little bit of sanity, I can go for my one way. Okay.
Yeah,
The
sure.
sanity, I think so. Sanity testing is a type of the software testing, which is built to ensure the critical condition application working correctly.
Mhm.
That's my own way. Okay, sanity. That means it's not actually expert way. That
Mhm.
is sanity testing. So I think so. Yeah, it's not correct, but that I just tried.
No, no, it's correct. We just need
And
to,
then go for the smoke testing debate one by one.
yeah, yes.
I
No, no.
think smoke testing is a testing process where we can test the build, the
Mm-hmm.
software is built and stable enough for future testing as well.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And sanity.
Uh, sanity sanity testing is a check in specific area affected by the changes.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I can say the regression testing,
Mm-hmm. Is it sanity
where
or smoke testing?
uh, regression testing is a process of I can say it's not a process, it's a smoke testing where we can quick check the defects, I mean all the bugs, and generate a new test cases. Then after we do the sanity testing on the regenerated test case test cases through the retesting.
No, no, no. You're mixing regression and retesting concepts with smoke and sanity. So let me help you out here. First, we'll discuss smoke testing. Okay. Now, smoke testing basically means that whenever you are whenever you want to start the testing, okay, it is after few phases of the product has already been released. It's not that very first time when you encounter testing, you do the smoke testing itself. Okay. When few iterations of the software has already been released. Okay. Now
Okay,
we need to now we need to start another round of testing because some new functionalities have been introduced. Okay.
okay,
Now, in order to make sure whether that software is in a testable state or not, we need to run few test cases just to make sure that the software is testable. What we mean by that is the most critical and important functionalities that the software has. Like if I say about social media, the most critical and important functionality would be that we are able to log in, log out. We
log in log out, yeah.
are able to access the home page. We are able to access the feeds. We are able to like, share, and comment. These are the basic functionalities that 90% of user does use. So in order to
Mhm.
test for any new functionality, we have to make sure that the existing and most critical and important functionalities are working correctly. Then only we can start with the testing of new modules that have been introduced. Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
So in order to verify that the important and critical functionalities are already working that have been developed previously, and we have already validated those functionalities in earlier releases. But as I told you that whenever there is an addition of new code, now there is a possibility that the existing functionality might break. Just to prevent that, we do the smoke testing just to check whether the build is or the software is in a testable state or not. Are we clear about smoke testing?
Mm.
yes.
Okay, and you can go through these examples on your own. Now, coming to sanity testing straight away. Sanity testing basically means is when there is particularly some changes on a particular module itself. Okay, not the entire software. A particular module has been affected. We just need to do a sanity testing not for the entire software, just for that particular module. What we mean by that is suppose that again, if we take the example of social media website. Now, in the home page, there was a major code change that happened for the home page itself. Okay. Now, the developers told us that the changes are only related to the home page. So you don't have to do the entire platform check. You just need to verify that the home page is working correctly or not. And for that, we'll be doing a sanity testing. What we mean by that is we'll just be focusing our testing efforts on the home page itself, not any other part.
Just only module change, yeah.
Yes, we'll be focusing our effort on a particular module, not the entire platform. Because developers have already defined the area of our scope. So we just need to do, before testing the entire homepage module, we need to do a sanity test just to make sure that the homepage is in a testable state. I mean, the critical and important functionalities of homepage are working correctly. And then we can verify that whatever new changes are there, it is working also. So that is what we mean by sanity testing. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Smoke and sanity sounds good. We'll be moving towards the key differences. As we mentioned, smoke testing, entire application, sanity testing, specific areas affected by changes. So module wise, you can just go ahead and go through the differences when you would revise. Now, exploratory testing. What we mean by this? Any ideas? Okay, let me go ahead and explain exploratory testing. It is basically the approach where we don't know the exact requirement of the software. We don't have any documentation for that software itself due to any reasons. There might be that those documentations might have been lost in the communication, or during that development phase, no one created the documentation for it. So for the very first time, we are given a software and we are told to test it, whether it is functioning properly or not. So we need to just start using that software and make sure that the functionality is working correctly. That is the crux of exploratory testing. Okay. I'm waiting for your responses. Deepen.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So can any one of you give me an example of exploratory testing, or how exactly would exploratory testing work?
Uh,
Any example that comes to your mind, even if you can read out these examples also.
not from my side.
Okay, no problem. So let me help you out here.
Sure.
Like suppose there is a software, any software. Suppose there is a social media platform that was given to you, and you were told that as a tester, you need to make sure that the platform is working correctly, and we don't have any kind of documentation that we would be able to give you. You just need to make sure that it is working. Now, how would you do that? And how would you approach it? First, you'll just be going and trying to use that basic functionalities. Like whenever you open that social media platform, they might ask for email ID and password. Now, in that email ID and password field, you just have to make sure that yes, the correct details are filled and I'm able to access that social media platform without any problem. If my details are correct, you just need to verify that. And there might be other login options as well. So you need to verify that other login options are also working. There might be many menus or many options to navigate to any particular page, like contact us or some any kind of useful links. You need to make sure that yes, these links are working. You just need to click on those. Correct?
Sorry, I was mute. Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is what we do in exploratory testing. We don't have any requirement or anything with us. We are just told that you need to test this software. So you need to explore the functionality. Okay.
So we do during the exploratory testing, we do randomly.
Yes, we randomly try to test.
Okay. Like we can test the login button, we can test the home button,
Mm-hmm.
anything, right?
Yes, anything you can test. But there
Okay.
is a catch that it is random testing, but even though it's a random testing, then also you have to test the entire functionality. Okay? You
Yes, yes,
can't leave anything.
yes. Like we can do the testing on the email ID and password, the username and password, login button is working or not after we insert in the username and password, and
Correctly.
the forgotten password button is working or not. So those are things that we do. Yes.
Correct. Like if someone tells you to do the exploratory testing on Facebook homepage, you need to verify the entire Facebook homepage, like whether you are able to, first of all, whether you are able to log in or not. That's the most critical one, as we
Hmm.
can see from the screen itself. Then whether forgot password is working or not. Second, create an account is working or not. Create a page is working or not. And these options that we have on the home screen, whether these options are working or not, we need to ensure everything. So there is no order that you have to verify this first and this last, but generally what takes precedence is whichever functionality you as a tester think is most important. So in this entire homepage, which functionality do you think is the most important one?
The most important one is the login button.
Correct. Not the login button, the login functionality.
The login functionality, yes.
That's the most important functionality.
Uh-huh.
Even if create account is not working, that's not that big of a problem compared to what if login is not working, because the existing customers won't be able to access their account.
Yes,
That is most critical functionality that can never go down. And if it does, it's a very high priority issue.
yes.
Now, I think we are done for today. So, what there are few topics left. I took too much time in explaining few concepts. So, you guys have to do few homeworks. We'll be sharing this PPT with you. Okay.
Okay.
Now you'll have to go through these concepts. We are done till exploratory testing. Now you'll have to go through ad hoc testing, monkey testing, positive.
Positive and negative testing. Yes.
These are the topics that you need to go through on your own, and we'll be discussing it. So please try to understand these topics as much as you can on your own. If you have any doubts, you can write it down.
What
And
is what is the before ad hoc and positive negative?
before before ad
Ad
hoc,
hoc.
exploratory testing.
Okay.
We were discussing exploratory testing right now.
Right.
Tomorrow we'll start from ad hoc testing. So you'll be getting this PPT right after the class itself, and you need to go through these topics. So tomorrow, rather than I would be explaining these topics, you guys would be explaining this topic to me. Okay?
Ad hoc.
Yes, from ad hoc. So, okay, let's divide the topic. Then it would be more interesting. So each one of you have your own topics that you need to study. So first, Deepen, as you are the most talented person here. So which topic
Monkey.
you choose? Let me know first. Whether it would be ad hoc, monkey, or positive testing. Which one?
Uh, I'll go with the ad hoc testing.
Sure. Then Raj, you are left with monkey
I'll
or
take the
positive.
monkey testing.
Okay, sounds good. And Rajan, you'll be getting the positive testing topic. Okay.
Sure.
So you guys need to prepare these three topics in detail. Okay, so tomorrow when you do explain, I don't want to get that feeling that you guys didn't even Google these topics or didn't even go through the slides. At
Mm.
least before 10 minutes before the class starts, please go through the slide, and if you have any doubt, try to Google it. Even if you don't find any explanation and if you're not able to understand, just at the very start of the class, ask me those questions. So we'll have a discussion. If not, then you'll have to explain these topics. Okay,
Okay.
either you
Okay.
must have questions on these topics. If not, then I'll ask the questions and you'll have to explain each and every point to me.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your
Bye.
time, and
All
we'll
right. Thank you so much.
meeting tomorrow.